I can sit here and as an artist, and I can say to you, that element doesn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
But what I will do is keep talking to you about my rich culture, my amazing heritage, how me as a young person born and brought up here in East Lancashire, like I stand on Burnley.
Yeah.
Like when people say, tell me about our bloody stand on Burnley, this is who we are. No one's taking that away from us. And I don't think not once will we turn around and say, oh, we're not part of this community. We're not part of this society. We won't do that. But everything that we've done across the whole of East Lancashire, like I know you, and I think I can say me as well, I don't think there's a particular area in East Lancashire that we've not gone and worked in.
Who's calling that? Who's calling that sheep? Who's calling that sheep? Who's calling that sheep?
Give us a subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you thought about the podcast today. Hello and welcome to Soul Talk podcast. Today I'm so excited because I have been wanting to do this ever since I started this podcast. I have my brother from another mother, Abdul Salek, here with us today.
How you doing?
Me and Abdul go way back. Abdul was actually one of the first people I ever worked with on an arts project when I was 18, I think.
Yeah, it's probably going back that far.
It's a very long time ago, and I'm 37 now. So yeah, we're going way back, and I'm just so excited to talk about that journey with Abdul and get to know Abdul a little bit more as well. So Abdul, could you just start off with telling us a little bit about you?
Yeah, okay. My name is Abdul, guys. I'm from Burnley, born and bred East Lancashire. I don't like to say Rawtenstall, but I say East Lancashire. But yeah, started working in the arts probably about 25 odd years ago. Working in music in the community, but obviously doing so many different things as well. But like Razi was saying, we go all the way back. Actually, it's amazing because I've been following you, you've been following me. We've been kind of supporting each other. There's loads of things that we've done between your company and my background as well. But it's so amazing to think, like you were saying, oh, you're 37 now, and we're basically going back about 20 years. So that's like almost half of my life. So Razi was a budding artist coming through at that time, wanting to kind of explore the world of dance, right?
Yeah.
And then
this is all very new to me. Yeah.
At that time, and then I was kind of almost getting my feet into community arts as well, but coming more from a music background. And then it was one of the very first times, or very few times since then, that I've worked with a South Asian artist from East Lancashire. And then I'm also East Lancashire South Asian artist. And I think part of the discussion that we'll have today is about us and our development through East Lancashire, our development through the arts. And what we've been doing. But yeah, that's my background. I work in schools, I work in the community. Not only, it started off working in Burnley to begin with, then across East Lancashire, and then across the whole country.
Yeah. What I find really interesting, that I actually only found out a few years after like meeting with you and working with you, was your actual like educational background, because I knew the institute you went to was like a very difficult place to get into.
Yeah.
And it was known as a very upper class place to be in at that time as well. But I just wanted to share that because I don't feel like a lot of people from our background have actually gone to institutes like that. No,
I think, the whole idea of us guys as South Asians, so I'm from a Bangladeshi background, you're from a Pakistani background, to look at theatre and music as a viable option for career choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you a bit of background. So when I was 16, finished high school, I didn't want to go into college.
Right.
I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, not that I hated an educational institution, but it's like, no, that's not me. I don't want to do that. So anyway, took a bit of time out. And if you remember at that time, that's when they first started introducing those apprenticeships. So I thought, okay, let's keep looking.
We sort of work and earn at the same time.
Work and earn at the same time, get a qualification at the same time, all of that type of stuff. So the first position that they found me was working as a trainee financial advisor in Britannia Building Society.
Right.
Anyway, I thought, okay, something different. Went in. Within 6 months, I realized I am not a person who's going to be 9 to 5 sitting behind a desk. I left it. Come home, obviously, again, South Asian background. What? You're leaving this brilliant position and all of that. And I said, look, I can't do it. That's not me. I can't do that. Anyway, came out of that, didn't know what I was going to do. Went back back to the family and said, right, I'm going to go into education. I'm going to go back into education. Everyone's like, brilliant. He's actually going to go back into education. So what are you going to study? I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know.
Did you know at the time?
No, I knew what I was going to do, but obviously at home it's like, no, they didn't know. So what are you going to do? What are you going to study? No, I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know. On the eve of starting, I went home and I said, yeah, I'm going to study theatre. Like, you are? I said, yeah, I'm going to study theatre. And they were like, what is this guy on? Anyway, I went and did a whole degree in theatre. That degree then became music in theatre.
And this was at LIPA, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there's actually 2 degrees there. There's one in theatre, in theatre practice, and then there was another one in music in theatre. And then while I was in my degree, I managed to get a job working at probably one of the most well-known community music organizations in the country. And this was an organization called More Music in Morecambe.
Right.
I was working as a youth worker at that time in Rawtenstall. And you know, when you're working for the youth service, different organizations come to deliver different things for young people. So More Music was one of those organizations that came along. So I'm there as a youth worker with our young people. And I have to say this, the person who came along to deliver the workshop was a chap called Pete Moser. I'm sure you've met him because we've done stuff together before. Pete Moser was my first, or I think second, like when you say mentor, like mentor, like the person who had probably one of the most biggest impacts in my life as an artist, as a person, as a male figure. Because obviously, you know, I lost my father when I was quite young.
Yeah.
So this person, probably I have a lot of thanks to give to him. So then he came up to me and said, oh, Abdul, I know you're working as a youth worker. What would you think about coming on with our organization as a trainee community artist? And I said, look, I don't even know what that means.
Right.
He goes, so basically what you're going to do is, you've got this particular instrument that you play, you love, it's part of your culture. We'll then teach you how to become what we call a community artist that takes this instrument and then goes and delivers all these different workshops. Anyway, I thought, okay, no problem, I'll try that. So that was, I still remember, that was a Thursday. He had that conversation with me. On Monday, I was delivering my first workshop.
Wow.
So all of that happened, and you know what?
And very fast as well.
Like really quick. But you know what was one of the great things? Like, I think it was 7 months into the traineeship, and Pete rang me up and he goes, Abdul, you've not given me an invoice yet. I said, invoice for what? He goes, to pay you. I said, what do you mean? He goes, so when you're on this traineeship, you know, we pay you to.
Yeah.
I said, all right, yeah. He goes, yeah, but you haven't given me an invoice. It's been about 6-7 months.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, but how do you do an invoice?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? He goes, it's okay, don't worry. I said, look, I've never done an invoice. I was 17, 18 years old. I said, you need to come and show me what it means to do an invoice.
Yeah.
Anyway, did the invoice, put it all in. And you know, as an 18-year-old, someone's just deposited £2,500 into your bank account. You know, you think to yourself, so people are actually prepared to pay me to go into schools, deliver music as a workshop. All of us have fun, and you get paid for doing it.
So talk to me more about that, because we were talking earlier before we started this podcast about, you know, opportunities and things that we didn't think were actually possible.
Yeah.
Why do we think, like, as not just like Asian artists, but I think from the towns that we're originally from as well, when you're from a smaller town and not the city, and you're also Asian, what is it that sometimes makes us think like maybe there's like a limit on what we can achieve, or is it actually possible to do the things that we want to do? I
think there's 2 sides to this. One is how we feel about what our community might think about us. That kind of limits us a little bit. And then the second thing is, okay, where have we seen examples of people from a South Asian background really hitting that top shelf? So it's a combination of both. So we're thinking, oh, am I actually trying to achieve something that's not really there? So you know, this whole idea of you as a dancer, what is the height of a dancer? And is it actually something that you really aspire to get to? And then the other thing is, okay, so if I really wanted to go down that route, I have to do so many other things. Now I've got a community to live up to, I've got a family to live up to as well, because don't forget, and we can be open and frank about this, the arts isn't really something that the South Asian community would kind of push their young people into.
No.
Yeah, so first of all, maybe for cultural reasons, then for religious reasons, and then for the actual fact that, oh, can you actually make a living out of this? Is there a career there? let me tell your audience, as a freelance, not as somebody who had a permanent job, but as a freelance artist for almost, I don't know, 20 odd years, I paid my mortgage off.
Wow.
By being a freelance artist, I paid my mortgage off. So from the age of 18, 19, right the way through till when I was about 34, 35, I was a freelance artist. Here's the thing, and I want to say this to your audience, the young people as well, and it's good for you guys to know this. I came across, and the person behind the camera, Yoga, you know Amanda as well. You remember Amanda from Liverpool? Brilliant saxophone player, African lady. She said to me, because she was one of the lead artists on the project that I was working on when I was 18. And she said, look, Abdul, you're going into a particular kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And we have to tell you this as well, because it seems like you're going to go through with it. I said, yeah, I'm 100% going to go through with being an artist and doing all of this. So she said, look, this life, there's two words that I have to say to you. She goes, feast or famine. There's going to be times when you're going to get so much work, you're going to think, whoa, this is amazing. And there's going to be other times where there's no work out there. And you know this as an artist. Over the summer periods, you're touring, you're dancing, you're shooting, you're doing all of that. And then it comes to just after summer, and it's like, whoa, I've got nothing in my diary for the next 2 months. So this idea of feast or famine. So she was like, well, if you're steadfast on what you believe that your art form and you want to keep going, then there is opportunity for you to go into other sectors, whether it's education, whether it's community, whether it's commercial, whether it's you going and setting up your own company or your own organization. And these are some of the things that I've seen you do. So you started off as an artist, you went to work in education with young people. Before you know it, you kind of had like a little bit of a dance company hosted in a youth center or a community center. And then very soon, you've set up a company that has got several branches now across East Lancashire. But when did you start? About 20 years ago?
A long time ago, but I think just as you had mentors, you were a mentor for me. I think so much more than what you actually realised.
I actually remember a funny story. I'll tell you a funny story, Yoga. First time I met Razia, we were working in a school.
Oh, I know exactly what he's going to say.
Watch this, So we were working in this school, and then obviously we met this company called Seal Films.
Oh yeah, and they were fantastic.
They were amazing, and we still work with those chaps from there, like Dave and Nick.
Yeah, they're right.
Yeah, because and then what happened? Obviously, is I've met Razia for the first time, so the kids have gone on a lunch break, and then we're like, come on, we'll go and grab some lunch as well. So we went and grabbed lunch, and you just do the normal thing, right? So we got to the front, I paid for lunch. And she turns out, she goes, you won't do that again. I said, relax, man. I was like, I said, what do you mean? She goes, you won't pay for my lunch again. I said, it's just a thing, because that's what you do.
It's so natural for you.
Yeah.
But that must have been so natural for me that when I needed you to actually tell me that story, because I don't remember saying that, but it was very natural
and
for
she was
me
like,
to react like that.
You won't do that again. I'm like, calm down, woman. You know what I mean? It's just like
independent woman.
But this is the thing, isn't it? When we first start out and we want to be independent and we want to stand on our own 2 feet. But that project back then led us as Damak to go and perform at Camelot. Do you remember the Commonwealth Games? It was same again, Seal Films. They recorded the whole thing, because I think for me, at such a young age, that was like one of my biggest performances.
Yeah.
Where there's a theme park called Camelot. I think it's still open.
It's not open.
Oh,
I don't live that far from it actually now. It's run down, and now I think it's like a bit like Scare Kingdom where they open it up at Halloween and stuff.
So Camelot was a theme park where the Commonwealth Games were taking place in this country.
It was a really cool
And then we, as probably a young performing group, went and opened that whole, and we were like, yo, we just literally opened the Commonwealth Games. And it was a huge thing.
That is amazing.
But you know, those opportunities, people made those happen for us. And one thing that, you know, people say is that just because somebody else opens a door for you, it doesn't make you any less of a person to walk through it. Because one thing that we realize is that we're going to open doors for other people as well, and it's vice versa. But talking about South Asian, coming from a Muslim background, Pakistani background, Bangladeshi background, what is the ceiling for us, or what is the height for us? I'll tell you one thing that we've learned by working in the arts and stuff like that. I think we now set the trend. We've gotten from the point of watching other people, looking at what they're doing. How do we?
We're almost like the next pioneers.
We're now got to the point where it's like, oh, the ideas that you come up with, no one's done that before. So now we have to look at, oh, we're pioneers now. We're actually coming up with ideas that other people
leading new pathways.
Exactly. So young people are now looking at us thinking, oh, I want to get on his podcast. I want to get onto the project that he's delivering. I want to work or do something as part of this organization. And I see this with House of Fusion now.
Yeah.
So the last show that you did at the
that you
in
came
Blackburn,
to,
I came to
18 years.
18, so I met you almost 20 years ago. You set up your company 18 years ago.
Yeah.
I went to your 18th anniversary, and to see the amount of people in that hall, the amount of like you had hundreds of dancers up there.
Yeah, I mean we've actually got more
right
now. Yeah.
So to think that 18 years on, you've now set up your own company. I have something here as well. We work on our own projects, but one thing that we've done, and I think we've done this consistently as well, is that I've had your back and you've had mine. You've seen my development and my growth, and I've seen yours as well, to the point that your family is my family, my family. And I think this is what artists do, isn't it? That we kind of become a family.
There's a lot of love that comes with art that I don't think you get in a lot of other careers.
But I'll tell you one thing that I love about what you do is that you continue to do what you're doing. Whether the support is there or not, you know that eventually people will recognize the work that you're doing with the young people. And I think that's what it makes a difference. And I think we're getting to that point here as well over on the Burnley side, is that it's not really getting people's permission to do that bit of work. We know over the 20, 25 years of us working in the community that this work is so much needed.
Yeah.
Like even today, and I have this conversation all the time, point me 5 South Asian artists born and brought up here in East Lancashire, and we struggle from a South Asian background. Point me 3 arts organisations that come from a South Asian background here in East Lancashire. It's hard to do that. What the question that I want to ask you, and we can have a discussion about this as well, is that where is the next generation coming from? Where is the next group?
That's it, yeah.
Because we need representation. There's no doubt about it.
It would be such a shame for us to have done this work now and for the next generation not to carry that torch forward and continue that work, because there is possibly a chance then where all the work we've done, not just in our culture, but as people in our areas, possibly it may rewind and go back to what it were, and this becoming a taboo subject as being artists.
And I think
what can that next generation actually...
It's that rinse and repeat, and I don't think that should happen again. We shouldn't be sitting down again saying, okay, so tell us, South Asian people, who are you? That shouldn't happen now, because look, my father came to this country back in the mid-60s. We then kind of had a little bit of connection with our what we call back home. So every now and again we used to go there. We still go there quite a lot. Now I've got children who have grown up. How much are they linked to our culture, our heritage? Because they still need to know that as well. Check this out. My role is to go and expose South Asian arts and culture to young people who otherwise wouldn't get the opportunity. You know, and you're thinking, okay, so Abdul's going to go into a community, work with, let's say, white children and expose them to South Asian culture. Some of that needs happening to our next generation as well, because they're also not exposed to South Asian culture.
No, I don't think they're also like... Exposure, I think, is like one part of it. I think, are we still dealing with families at home who necessarily wouldn't see art as a career path still?
I think so.
And because I always feel like when it comes to subjects like this, we have to always go back to the very root of it. The roots are going to be, what is that person's limiting beliefs based on what they've been brought up with? What are their options, and what have they got the freedom to do that's actually for them and not family? And 3, are they brave enough to actually not worry about the external factors of it and to truly do... For me, I feel like we're all here for like a purpose. And sometimes not everybody gets the opportunity to fulfill that purpose.
I think everything that you said is definitely a huge factor in when young people are making that decision. So look, I've been working with a couple of young people from a different area of East Lancashire who want to go into things like fashion and design, who want to go into becoming possibly a designer or looking at that. But then they're coming back now saying, is that viable? Is it something? But my mum says this and and it's totally fine. I think, can we get into a position where we let young people experiment, give it a chance, and then if they don't
make the decision from there. And I think sometimes that's all people want, is they just want to be able to have the choice. Most of the time when people have that choice.
Okay, so check this out. You as an artist, when you felt as though, or is there enough work out there for me and whatnot,
Yeah.
you fell back on your teaching degree, right?
I did, yeah.
So-
Well, I don't have a teaching degree. I did a lot of supply teaching.
Okay.
My degree is in
Yeah.
dance, but I had a lot of teaching experience. So yeah, I went on supply and yeah, dipped into. I nearly actually became an English teacher.
Well, there you go.
at one point,
So you were
yeah.
thinking, okay, this is my passion. This is something that I try
Yeah.
to make a life with.
But is it financially
stable?
enough?
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me tell you about me. When I was going through that whole freelance lifestyle, working in music, working in arts and all of that, I always fell back on what, say, for example, my forefathers kind of set up when they came to this country was the Indian restaurant trade.
Yeah.
So while I was doing the whole arts working in school, every now and again when you needed a top up, and every now and again when you knew you needed that secure, went and worked in an Indian restaurant and takeaway,
Right.
and totally enjoyed that. Like,
Yeah.
never once did I say, oh, this is crap, or no, totally enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But we knew that there's something there that we can always fall back on. So this is the thing with artists as well, isn't it? That we're so versatile.
Yeah.
We've got so many talents, so many skills, that this is my passion and I really want to make a living out of this. But if this isn't for a short amount of time going financially the way that I want it to go, I've always got something to fall back on.
So is that what you would advise for the next generation
100%.
now? Is still explore
Yeah.
the arts and passions that you have.
And you're going to love it.
Yeah.
You're going
and
to love
to
it.
enjoy it. But I guess it would take the pressure off the art form you're going to explore by maybe having a second job, a second stream of income. And they say that now, don't they?
Yeah.
That having more than one stream of income is really important.
And you know
now.
that second stream, Razia, honestly, it's not passive income. It's
Yeah.
not, you're not doing it just for the sake of it. You're doing it to actually pay your bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, go out, explore the arts, whether it's music, theatre, visual arts, creative writing, all of that, knowing that you've also got another skill there as well that you can also implement.
100%. You literally took the words out of my mouth. That was going to be the next thing, is that sometimes that second stream of income, do not underestimate the skills you're building from there that will help you with that art career as well. Because I would say, even my job at JJB was like one of my first. Well, actually,
JJB Sports.
Yeah, JJB Sports. A lot of you probably won't even know what that is.
You don't have a clue.
It's now Sports Direct.
Yeah.
Before that, I used to work in the kitchen of a cafe. Like, I've literally been working since I was 15.
Yeah.
I have to say, I really built sales skills.
Yeah.
How to talk to people, how to communicate. I think it's really important to be able to work for another person before you start working for yourself, because when you start working for yourself, you have so much respect for what those bosses actually had to do and lead.
Let me say this bit. You know, arts, I'm talking directly to your audience. Arts is wonderful, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's so lovely. And you sit there and you watch and you're in awe and you're thinking, wow, this is amazing. But let me tell you behind the scenes, yeah? Artists are probably the most grittiest, strongest, like tenacity you will ever meet. Like, if you wanted to put somebody through the trenches, it's an artist you're talking about, because the emotions that you go through, the hardship that you go through.
You know, I actually want to do a video of this soon, of the behind the scenes of like a day.
What does it actually mean?
Artist, because so much happens behind
because
the scenes.
every day you're battling yourself, because your art form is led by your emotions, your feelings, what you're thinking. Us, as well as musicians, we listen to music differently. We see music as a tool rather than a piece of entertainment.
Yeah.
So once you see us on stage, guys, it's wonderful, innit? You see us bouncing around, jumping, having a laugh and all of that. But I know what she goes through when she's putting on a show. And I'm telling you, you know those 1.5 or 2 hours that you're watching something that's wonderful? That's like, it's not even tip of the iceberg, because
actually that's been months of crazy, chaotic build.
And then the injuries that you've been through, which I know that like half the time I'm saying to you, yo, relax, get out of the dance studio. You don't need to be there.
And I think part of being an artist is we really struggle to be still, because Abdul saying this to me, he is the most active person I know when it comes to jumping on projects. Every time I meet you, you're doing something new. Is that part of being an artist? Do we find?
I think it is. Look, I think it is. I think we're just high driven. I think we see community work as something that's fundamentally part and parcel of us. We don't think, okay, I'm a community worker. You know, when we just go out there and do it, it's only after when we sit down and reflect that we think,
you realize that is what you're doing.
I'm kind of giving young people that platform and that opportunity to express themselves. You setting up a dance studio in Hindburn, giving the young people of that particular area the opportunity to access. Because look, here's one thing that some of you, I know you're following Razia. Razia's work is always, and this is one thing I love, it's always issue based. It's always relating to.
So we talk about social issues, things that are going on in the world, things that we struggle with day to day that may not necessarily get spoken about enough.
So a lot of dance studios you'll see, and this is one thing I love about your work and how you do it. You go to some dance studios, they'll put Busta Rhymes on and you learn a routine, right?
Yeah.
With Razia's work is there's an issue about, let's say, self-harm. She'll find a soundtrack and say, right, the next 6 weeks, everything that I teach in my studio is going to be related to how we overcome this idea of self-harm.
Yeah. So what we do is we run sort of two things alongside. So we still do the whole like Busta Rhyme thing and like commercial dance, but we have another project called the Panda Project that we actually house within the studio that particularly works with that, because it's a particular group we work with doing that sort of thing, because the issues can be very deep. They can bring a lot of surface issues up, and we need to be able to support that group and make sure. Because
I came to watch Connections, right?
Yeah, so Connection is a new platform by the Panda Project. We do include like our house fusion dancers in it as well. But what we've tried to like work towards now is incorporating Panda within house fusion more. So things like we always end our classes with like gratitude circles. We always make sure there's some sort of like support system where, you know, people feel safe to emotionally outlet and just be themselves. So there are elements where we try and like combine both, and we want to do more of that.
So I know I'm on your podcast right now. But the question that I want to ask, and both of us...
This is me trying to get to know Abdul more.
But we're going to learn... Because you guys are going to learn about us as well. So when we were like going through the motions of like, you kind of saw House of Fusion from the beginning and then moving through it. I was part of Damak as well. Did you ever feel like, nah, I got to pack this in?
So many times. I've actually spoken about it on a podcast with another dancer who also, you know, felt the same, and he did the same as what you're doing to me now. And he was like, I'm going to switch this around and ask you a question. And I was like, okay. And he was like, would you ever just pack it up and go to a 9 to 5? And my response would be the same but stronger now, I think. Like for me, the last year has been the happiest I've been in my career.
Excellent.
And I know my husband turned around the other day, and he's obviously seen the turbulence of it all. He gets, you know, him and mum between them, they see the parts that other people don't see. They see the struggle, the times where I've wanted to give up. And he was like, this is the happiest I've ever seen you in.
And is it because you've now got yourself? I'm not talking about your company now. Is it because you've got yourself into a position?
One, I am a lot better in myself. I've done a lot of inner healing, and that's put me in a much stronger position, because how I manage my things day to day are so different. Two, I don't take things personally like I used to, which is very hard when you're an artist. And three, I've actually had to learn to be more discerning, which was really hard for me. I'm naturally a very compassionate person, but I've come to realize that being nice and being kind are really two different things. And I think often I was being nice and that was being taken advantage of. But I also have to hold myself accountable that was overgiving. You know, that can stem from things in childhood, so many old things. I think what I don't do now is I don't people please, which in turn has really pleased myself, but actually, weirdly enough, aligned everything else so beautifully.
And these are some of the internal struggles that an artist always has, because we're always, you know, like people sometimes do say to me, "Oh, why do you do so much?" It's not that I'm doing so much; it's just naturally that's who I am. That's just the way that you are. And when it comes to community, especially community, like you, for your young people that you work with, that you nurture, that you train, and like, look, there's young people, we automatically become mentors, we become their advisors.
You're so much more than an artist.
Absolutely.
It branches off to so many different things.
I think this is where I'd like to take this conversation, is that we're not just artists. That I don't just turn up with a bunch of drums and say, let's make some noise. You don't just turn up with a dance routine in your head and say,
like when you go out with those drums, you're creating a safe space for those people. It's healing. Tell me more about that. Like,
so
what do you
look,
feel
for
like?
me, you know, it all comes back full circle, like how I've come back full circle with you. Like some of these young people that I worked with when they were, I don't know, early teenagers, putting them into a workshop, doing, you know, making some wonderful pieces of music, to then be able to perform at their wedding. It's like an honor. You know what I mean? And, you know, like we when we still see our teachers, we still call them sir and miss. We don't go to calling them by their names and whatnot. Those same children, when they see us now as adults and still saying, sir, what are you doing? Sir, how are you doing? It's like, it comes back around and you think to yourself, you know what, you've got a connection with that young person that's actually beyond those 2 hours or 3 hours that I spent with them. So they're coming to you for advice. They're coming to you for, oh, this is what I'm planning on doing. That when you see them achieve something in life, you'll quickly be the first one to kind of drop a message and say, you know what, you made me really proud of you. You've done so well. And I think this is what we do as artists: go into the community, nurture young people, give them that
we almost like plant the seed.
We do, and you know what? Their parents really, really do appreciate it, because one of the things that I've struggled with is when you're working with South Asian communities, like when I've gone into schools and stuff like that, a lot of the times the parents did used to come and say, oh, I don't want my child involved in music. I don't want them going out and doing. And my response to them always was, look, my role isn't to make your child into a rap star, pop star, superstar. That's not my job. My job is to give them an alternative way to express themselves. And one of those ways is using the arts. And then, and I'll be honest with you, and I used to say this to parents as well. I said, would you rather have your child in a safe, nurturing environment in a classroom or in a community center, working with me, doing some arts related stuff, or would you rather have them on a street corner learning how to roll a joint?
What would the response be?
And they were like, I understand where you're coming from, but I think it's us giving the confidence to the parents to say that, look, we're here to nurture your children into becoming really, really fine young people. And now I get the community saying, oh, you need to come. You need to come and do this. You need to come and do that.
And it's just, it was a bit like what you were saying earlier, is when we speak, I need to, you know, come into your world and understand where you're coming from. Sometimes it just needs that time of understanding, doesn't it?
100%.
This is actually the intention of what we're trying to do. We're not trying to pull the children away from the culture. Actually, it's really important and can work beautifully if they actually embed their culture within that. 100%.
Like they have to, you have to embed it in and say
it's
that
where you come from. It's everything you've learned.
Look, we're very much still linked to our culture and our heritage in a way where it's like we're proud, we want to represent, we want to stand up tall, but at the same time, we're 100% British. We're 100% integrated and assimilated with lifestyle here in the UK. Everything about you is British, everything about me is British, but also everything about you is Pakistani, everything about me is Bangladeshi. And we resemble that and we display that and demonstrate that every single day in our work, in our life, in our cultures and all of that. But one thing for sure, and I know this, one thing 100% for sure, is that we wouldn't move away from who we are as people because our art form wants to see something different. Do you understand what I mean by that? So I'm now not going to go and talk about environment, because now environmental arts is really big, right? I can sit here and as an artist and I can say to you, that element doesn't do anything to me. But what I will do is keep talking to you about my rich culture, my amazing heritage, how me as a young person born and brought up here in East Lancashire, like I stand on Burnley. Like when people say, tell me about our bloody stand on Burnley.
I can imagine some people cheering at that bit of this podcast.
we all stand on Burnley. We all stand on Stonian. This is who we are. No one's taking that away from us. And I don't think not once will we turn around and say, oh, we're not part of this community. We're not part of this society. We won't do that. But everything that we've done across the whole of East Lancashire, like I know you, and I think I can say me as well, I don't think there's a particular area in East Lancashire that we've not gone and worked in. So whether it's Ribble Valley, Hyndburn, Pendle, Burnley, Rosendale, every single, to the point where I don't think for me, I don't think there's a primary school in those 5 boroughs that I've not worked in.
You've not worked in. Can I ask you something? So when you were younger and you made that decision that you was going to go and do theatre, had you done anything before that where you've gone to like any outside clubs or anything? Because this is something I feel like I found very difficult to do as a child. So I had one parent who knew I was going to dance classes, and I had one parent that really wouldn't have been okay with it. And as the years went on, it became obvious, you know, that I loved dance and stuff, and I had a lot of support there. But it doesn't mean it hasn't been challenging, or people haven't tried to like detour me onto different career pathways. Did you do that growing up as a child?
As a young person from the South Asian community, in the community that we lived in, going to clubs wasn't a thing. drama club, or it wasn't a thing. We went to the local community centre and played table tennis.
Right. Okay.
We played pools. We played footy.
And was that known as that was a safe space for you to go
That was
to?
a safe space.
Right,
But as a young person, I realised that theatre was very easy for me. So there's 2 occasions I'll tell you. In primary school, when I was in year 5, there was something that the teacher was doing with the group, and then we needed to show it as a drama.
Right.
So me and a friend of mine, we just kind of did it, and everyone was like, "So when did you write it? When did you practice it?" So we didn't write it or practice it. It was just totally improvised.
Oh wow! Yeah.
I still remember that. So this is when I was 9 maybe.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's one occasion.
Yeah.
Second time that happened again was when I was in probably year 9 in high school, where the English teacher, I still remember his name, Mr. Clare, said, "Oh, there's a drama thing that we need to do, blah, blah, blah." Again, we just got up, performed.
Yeah.
But then, all the way throughout that, there was 2 things for me that took me into the arts. One was comedy.
Okay.
And the second thing was just drama coming so naturally.
Yeah.
Didn't have to practice, didn't have to read lines.
Do you remember when it sparked? Do you remember when that moment where you were like, "Oh my God, I actually love this"?
Yeah, I've always loved it. But when I realized, I need to study it, is when I left Britannia Building Society, and I thought, that's something that's so natural to everything that I've done, because I've done theatre pieces all the time.
Yeah.
I thought, why am I not studying this and getting a qualification in it? It's at that point, I think in my early 20s, where it sparked and said, this is your life.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, I started working as a community artist before that. So when I was working as a community artist before that, when I was a youth worker, for me, you're just having fun.
Yeah.
It still didn't click that, you can actually go and work in the arts. Yeah. It was at that point that I thought to myself, you know what, I can actually go and study this. And then, so I went into, back into doing my degree early 2000. And then I think it was at that point where I became the artistic director for DAMAC. Kind of ran that right the way up until 2016, 2017. And then thought, okay, the organization has kind of, wrapped itself up. It's not continuing. But since then, I've still been working as a fully fledged artist, still going into schools, communities, to the point like you, international, going to this country, that country, doing this project, that project. And arts now, I think now, it definitely is viable because there's so many things connected to the arts.
Many different
so there's AI, media, graphics, journalism.
So much has been built along the way.
Whereas with us, what you're doing, music, right, just music. Boom, just music. Yeah. But now, like you've got music in there, you've got creative writing in there.
Yeah, there's so much.
You've got movement, you've got...
Even for me, I found actually so many skills in graphics. I was like, I actually really enjoy
Well, look,
graphics,
this is the thing, isn't it? When it comes to us promoting something, and I know this about you as well, you're the choreographer, you're the dancer, you're the manager, you're the PR marketing person, you're the social... You can do it all. But look at it.
Sometimes the sweet rapper collector.
but at the same time, you're doing it all.
Yeah.
And you're doing it for your company, you're doing it for your community, you're doing it for the young people. But I think overall, guys, arts definitely is a viable option, especially even if you're from the South Asian community. And I'm saying, look how I've said it. Even if you're from, it's almost as though we're making some kind of concession.
Yeah.
No, it's not. South Asian communities, young people, you can 100% go and explore the arts.
Yeah.
You can 100% look at it as a viable option for your career. You can 100% get your family's support for you to make this happen.
Well, I want to come to that because I've got 3 questions for you. My first one is, and I feel like there are similarities in how male and female, are perceived at home in terms of family and career options. And then I think there are completely different ways, I think for a woman, just general, not even in culture, just in the world, there's an expectation of who you sort of give birth and where the nurture and, the person that looks after the family. And I think with a male, you also have the pressure there to lead, to bring money back, to, go and pioneer something maybe other members in the family aren't doing. What advice would you give to people who are struggling to have that option at home?
Raja, look, it's a really difficult question. I think the family has to nurture an environment for you to be able to breathe in the world that you want to
But we know ourselves, there's still so many households that maybe haven't moved forward in that way.
Yeah.
What can that person do who...
I think, you really have to be passionate and believe in your form.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think even once anybody in my family is like, Sal, what are you doing in music? As in why are you... My environment has been nurtured in a way where my family 100% have now got to the point where they know he's an artist, he's a musician, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Like, I had a studio in my house, which I had to kind of pack up.
Okay.
Because obviously with family growing bigger, having a little child, needing that extra room. But family always knew Sal's going to be there. He's going to be involved in this particular area. What can I say to young people that really want to do that but might find it? I think really, if you stand on your art form and show your family that you're actually trying to be the best in this. Because look, with South Asian families, one thing I know, if you want to show everybody that you're just there to have fun, everyone's going to be like, yo. But if you're there as the art form is your profession, you're actually learning dance because it's a form, it's a skill, it's a discipline that you want to hold on to. Then family support, I think, will come automatically.
Yeah, I have to say that's where it sort of changed a little bit for me, was when I went to go and do my degree. And
and everyone's like, oh, she's actually doing this as a discipline. She's really
serious about this.
Yes. And I think it's then, and I don't think that's just in the South Asian culture, that's in any. If you really wanted to be, say, for example, a musician that's sitting there with your guitar and you're practicing hours and hours, and then all of a sudden you went home and you said to your mom, I really want to pick this instrument as like this. I'm really going to revolutionize your mom will be like, you know what, son, you found what your purpose is. But if you're just there, just saying, oh, I'm going to be a rock star, I'm going to go and do a gig, I'm coming home late, not really focusing on disciplining. Because look, your art form has disciplined you as a person. My art form, when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to particular bits of music, I'm actually studying it. I'm actually trying to understand why this artist wrote this piece of music at that time in their life and what made them do it for you as well. That particular piece that you performed at Connection, where it was a solo piece. Why has Razia at that time in her life decided to create that choreography in the start? I want to understand the method behind your madness. And I think this is where, when families start to realize that this person is not just dancing, is not just playing. There's so much more. And I think this is where you really convince your family, and your family will be like, you know what, we got your back. Go for it.
Thank you for that, because that even like, I probably needed to hear that as a young child as well. So I have two more questions for you.
Go for it.
One is, I obviously know you as such an independent person, someone who's like very driven. I know there's definitely, like, as artists and just as people, as humans, we all have to ride the waves in between that. Can I ask what's given the drive and independency? Is it to do with, because I know you come from a lot of siblings who also sort of pioneered their own pathways. It sounds like you came from a really supportive family. Did that help in you being so independent? And because I feel like you're very confident in leading new pathways.
Okay, check this out.
Be quite fearless.
I think, you know, it's not. I think once you've got the idea in your head and you know that it's going to benefit other people, because it's benefit for us as artists, our art or whatever we want to go out there and present, it benefits others before it benefits us. And I think once we see it benefiting others, is that
you've always said that, and I've always admired it.
It's at that point when I think, oh, my art forms allowed me to see somebody else become happy, and that's made me happy. So, you know, that gratitude, that reward of seeing somebody else.
So created a much larger.
Well, check this out. Okay, for me, it's only after I decided, okay, arts is something that I'm going to go down, where I realized, hey, actually, my aunties are writers, my uncles are performers. You know what I mean? We have that within our family. And then when I go and look at my sisters and my very creative people all the time.
I come from a similar
so for family, us to kind of see that, look, this is one thing I've noticed with you and noticed with me, and this is for your listeners as well. We don't see each other on a regular basis, but we're always in communication with each other, because I see what you're doing. I'm following from a distance. I'm supporting from a distance. And then every now and again, it's like, yo, I'm not seeing you like for the longest time. And then even then to arrange a meetup, it takes months and months.
It does.
Only because we're so busy with what we're doing. But then I get my inspiration from you. You might get inspired by me.
Definitely get inspiration.
But the point is that, you know, the artists, we have to create a community within ourselves as well. Like, your husband's an artist. He's a DJ, he's music, and he's out there and he's doing his thing, but then he knows you've got his back. And then when he needs that support and people to be there, we're all there. But I think having, like, I'm trying to find the right way of kind of saying, you will always find the right people when you need to find the right people. And they'll just pop up from somewhere. They really will. They'll pop up from somewhere, and these people will have a significant impact in your life. And not only in the past, but they'll give you that little bit of a nudge as like, I think you need to go into that direction now.
And you've definitely been that person for me who's been like, I love what you're doing here. Maybe you can start doing a bit more of this and stuff, or do this, because you need someone who's going to be honest with you, that can see what it is that you're trying to do as well. But yeah, can sort of give you those nudges in the right direction. My final question for you. You do a lot of different things, and I admire everything that you've built. And you can sort of see where your upbringing and everything has tied into all the things that you're doing now. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Okay,
which is actually not that long anymore, is it?
No, it's not actually.
5 years' time.
So this is something that I was talking to you about. Me and the person behind the camera here, Yoga, we're working on some really groundbreaking projects, Some of it's a personal business, because now I think we've got to the point where it's like, could do with a bit of money, man.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with saying that.
And I think as you're growing, you know, you...
And when I say could do with a little bit of money, it's that we don't want to grind every single day. It's to set something up where we know we can take our feet off the pedal. Efficient. And then still go to do what we love to do. It's
not about working harder, it's working smarter.
So in the next 5 years, well, I'll break it down. In the next couple of years, we're working on, because there's something that we share as well, because autism is part and parcel of my family, and I know your sister as well. And we're going to talk about this because Razi is going to be coming on to my podcast as well.
And tell people about that as well.
So this is what we want to do. We've got a new podcast that I've set up. And it's here. It's called Matisna. Matisna is basically a Bangla word that's saying shut up. But actually, the whole point is come onto the podcast to talk. So you're not shutting up.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. So we're going to be promoting this, and it's about the South Asian community having a platform where they can just come and be open and frank. Then we are working on a really huge twinning project where we're twinning autism specialist school here in the UK with another school over in Bangladesh, and then possibly next year in Pakistan as well. We've managed to get the go ahead from Lancashire County Council's Education Authority, and then obviously the government over in Bangladesh. We've actually twinned the schools. We're going to be doing some exchanges between this country and that country. So next year, part of the plan and the development of this project is this year we want to take the teachers over so that we've got that face-to-face connection. And then next year, because the school over there is arts and autism, we want to take UK artists over there. Raji is going to be one of those people. Hopefully, we want to take over, and make that happen. Then the other thing is, I have my own tea company. I want to promote that and get that into retail. Silo tea. We'll talk more about that.
I will add the link in this video as well for that.
So we want to get that tea brand into retail. We've got so many other kind of projects that we're working on. But I think in the next 5 years, so I'm 44 now. So by the time I get to 50, this is one thing I say to Yogi, and you're going to laugh about this, by 50, I want to be a millionaire.
Okay. Do you know what? The last time we went to Nando's for a meal, and he was like, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah, by 50.
And he was like, literally by 50, I will be a millionaire, and I'm going to do this, this, and this for you. And honestly, look, I left thinking he's going to do it.
Yeah, I have a list of people. I have a list of people that I always say to them that when I become a millionaire, I'm gonna retire. You're not gonna have to work. Razi is one of those. It's my little sister. So when I become a millionaire, I'm gonna retire her. So she's gonna have a lot of spare time on her hands. But that's the thing, you know.
And I'll still fill it with stuff to do.
I'll tell you a really quick story before we finish. This is going back into school as well. A young person once said to me, "Sir, if you won the lottery, what would you do?" I said, "You what?" He goes, "Sir, if you won the lottery today, what would you do?" I said, "You mean with the money or what?" He goes, "Yeah, when you win the lottery with the money, what would you do?" And I turned around and I said, "You know what I'd do?" I said, all my closest people in my life, like my brothers and my sisters, and then my closest friends, I'll go and pay their mortgages off. You know? And that kid looked at me and goes, "Right, Daphne."
Is it because you were doing things?
And I'm like, "Why would you call me Daphne?" He goes, "Sir, no, you would go and you'd spend money and you'd buy a car." And I said, "That's totally cool and that's fine. But us, you know, artists are always lending support. That's what we do."
My husband responds the exact same. He will be like, "I'm going to help this person do this and this person do this."
And I think this is us naturally, just as artists, your first and foremost reaction when you come into something good whether it's money, opportunity, is how do we lend this to somebody else?
And I think because actually it does help us as well in turn.
Of course it does.
With that.
And I think this is where we get our this is where we get our gratitude for. I think this is the healing to our trauma. There's no doubt about it. Us as artists, once we go out there and we present something and somebody comes and says, that's wonderful, what we just watched was beautiful. Well, what you've just watched is something that caused me trauma, maybe, and then this is my response to it, and then look, I've created this wonderful piece of art. So I think, you know, for your listeners and the people that are watching, keep doing what you're doing, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Believe in your form and you, and everything else will come along.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No,
that
absolutely fine.
Was super inspiring. And if you liked what you saw today, give us a subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you thought about the podcast today. And thank you so much, Abdul.
Brilliant. Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thank you.
Who's calling that shit?